let's talk about Trump. Let's talk about the alliance as well between the US and Australia.
Sure.
So, yeah, there's obviously the view that a lot of people hold that Trump is a destabilizing, untrustworthy, egotistical figure that destabilizes the world. And then there's the other view that goes, well, hey, Russia invaded Ukraine under Joe Biden. The Hamas attack happened under Joe Biden. Whereas Trump has, he hasn't solved the war in Ukraine, as he promised. But there's no new wars, and the Israel-Iran conflict is sort of a continuation from October 7th. Like, there's those sort of things. What do you think, though, in terms of the Trump administration's foreign policy? Is it a sort of isolationist policy, or from what you've seen, is it more of a pivot to Asia? I asked Drew Pavlou about this last time. He thought it was more of an isolationist stance. But yeah, what do you think?
I'd be in the same boat. I don't think it's a pivot to anywhere in particular. I think it's Trump, despite his actions, is actually meant to be inherently anti-war. At least so he believes, and portrays it in his countless speeches that he does across the country in the election campaign. And when we look at, all these wars being started under XYZ president, what needs to be remembered as well is that these wars do not directly have anything to do with the US, in the sense of Ukraine might be an ally of the United States, but the US doesn't have a key strategic it's always had a strategic interest, but I don't think it had as much priority on the US's foreign policy list as Israel, for example. And I think that stems down to domestic lobbying and the strength of some interest groups other than others, and donations and the back room of politics. I think, though, that with regards to Trump's foreign policy, I've heard some people describe it as ludicrous. I wouldn't go that far. I think it takes an isolationist approach, and he's trying to do what he believes and what the Republican Party, in quotations, believes is best for America, and that means slashing immigration, kicking out, illegal citizens who have lived there, and furthermore, developing a policy which is, it almost seems sometimes of who can pay me the most money and I'll do you a good one, mates rates, because the policy just doesn't seem to be coherent. It doesn't seem to be respectful of the relationships that the United States has formed over a long period of time with allies, and that would reflect an isolationist policy platform. It's very, as Trump described it in his inauguration speech, America First policy, and his agenda to focus on the US first and foremost, and as he describes it, clean up Joe Biden's mess. That's his primary objective. He, within days, unsubscribed from the World Health Organization, unsubscribed from the World Trade Organization, I believe. He also cut USAID, which crippled parts of Central Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and the Pacific, because he didn't think the costs were necessary, and instead developed an administration with some of the most poignant people in the country,
Very diplomatic wording there.
Appointing Elon Musk to a government efficiency position for him to then only leave, and then they have a Twitter fight for a day. Or putting Pete Hegseth, who is a former Fox News commentator with very particular views, as his defense secretary. Whilst serving, I will credit that. It's good to have someone who's served as your defense secretary. I think, though, the platform is it's not hitting the mark, and it isn't respecting of the global rules world order kind of format that Reagan and Thatcher developed all them years ago.
In terms of what we can actually affect as Australia, can we, like, we can talk about AUKUS, but generally, is there a case for saying, oh, Australia just needs to, I don't know, show some skin in the game or more commitment to win over Trump's personal favour or whatever? Is there a way that is that the approach we should take?
If you've ever seen the ABC series Nemesis, it talks about the 10 years of Liberal government, and there's a part in there which talks about dealing with Donald Trump. And Malcolm Turnbull, an exceptional world leader, may I add. Malcolm Turnbull on the global stage was phenomenal. His ability to use business tactics, which is inherently transactional. You've got something I want and you need something from me, so I'm going to sell you that and we'll make a trade. That's the kind of mindset that I think Donald Trump views the world. I'm only going to do deals with you if I can get the better side of the deal.
Do you think that approach is going to work this time?
No.
Why?
I don't think he even knows what he's doing. I think sometimes he wakes up in the morning and he goes, oh, I'm going to do this today. And then by evening he goes, we're not doing that anymore. I think there's adjustments, and simply he is so unpredictable in the current environment. We're already facing a global environment with global uncertainty left, right and center. And then you throw Trump into the mix to be the saving grace, and it actually just deepens the issue. And what we saw last time was an administration that was shaped around him to provide stability. First term president needs to see, what does it look like to be president? I need an experienced team around me. This time around, he's done it for 4 years. He knows what he's doing. For Australia, I think we need to stay strong with our values. I think we need to diversify our partners. We should be looking elsewhere. I think, me personally, I think we should be looking at the Nordic countries, Norway, Sweden, Finland. They are the masters of preparedness because of their historical ties with Russia and the wars that's going on there. I think we need to look at them for preparedness, look at the European Union. Richard Marles, our current defence minister, is over there doing some work with NATO at the moment on the side. And I think we need to strengthen our partners in Asia. Look at ASEAN, look at the Pacific, look at the Japanese, for example, and see what does it look like to work with people outside of the old friend.
So is your belief that AUKUS is not going to go as planned?
I am optimistic for the future of AUKUS, and I think it would provide a lot of capability for Australia, but we got the short straw of the deal. We are presented with an option which is inherently still better for the US than it is for us. And that was signed in the last government without Trump. What if he goes there and actually moves the goalposts over here and forward some so it's better for him again? It's all going to just play out, but I believe that the long-lasting friendship that Australia and the United States have and will continue to have. And if democracy plays its course, this program will transcend Donald Trump's second term.
The friendship of the peoples is stronger.
It's so strong. You can go anywhere in the United States, we were talking before, and feel welcome there. And I think that trickles up to the top. And I think that we have a really good relationship through things like sports diplomacy, our love of, action, sports, our shared values that we've historically held will continue to kind of support that transition. And fingers crossed AUKUS will go ahead because it's such a boost to our strategic capability. But I think it needs to be improved more through diversification.